Glad to have you back now. If you're just joining us, it's Daybreak Africa. All right, Nigerian stock markets, useful indicator for economic wealth, have been hit by uncertainty associated with COVID-19. Major stock markets across the world were already gasping for breath. Market analysts therefore say, apart from the technology-driven sector and financial sector, this might be the real winner of the shaking. So Ambrose Amodian is Chief Research Officer, Invest Data Consulting Limited. He joins us via Skype from Lagos. Thank you so much for your time.
Thanks for having me.
Okay. Thank you so much. Okay, let's quickly do a review of the Nigerian stock market in the first half of the year. The first 6 months of this year, of course, the second quarter was badly hit by COVID-19. So how would you assess the level of performance in the first half of the year?
Yeah, actually, if you look at the market performance for the first half of the year 2020, it's a market full of missed performance and also surprises. I'll tell you at the beginning of the year, even including Invest Data, when we're forecasting for 2020, we're seeing a lot of potential that the year will be a treaty year for investors. Looking at the Nigeria government for the first time, approving a budget for 2020 in 2019, it was a boost that was expected that it was going to reflect on the market performance and economic performance for 2020. Not only that, the company's corporate actions for 2019 is expected also to be in the market early before the end of the first quarter, also to impact the market positively. On that note, many investors have even launched out their net to the sea to cash. I mean, they have taken position in some good stocks, but unfortunately, that the spread of COVID-19, was first announced in Nigeria February 27. That sent a lot of panic to the market. Then before that, yes, the market was making an uptrend in the first quarter. I'll tell you, the first month of the year was very bullish for Nigerian investors. Before CBN came up with another new policy to increase the cash reserve ratio for the banks. That was the first hit the market got in the first quarter of 2020. Then before February, the issue of COVID-19 came and there was a panic sell-off. I will tell you, we sell down in the month of March. That brought the market to about 11 years low, for the month of March. But unfortunately, or good for the market, let me just put that, not funny, or good for the market, that in the month of April and May, the market rebound. I call it a COVID-19 market rally. Just because the crude oil that have been the major source of the government revenue, and at the same time being one of the essential commodities globally, also was hit during the COVID-19 panic in March. Globally, every market in the world was really looking for bread because the market was bleeding more than the economy when it hit the market, in March. But unfortunately or good, the market rebounded in April. Just on three things that really drove the market in that period. One, positive sentiment for oil prices, and at the same time, the extended release date for quoted companies in Nigeria. That means those audited results we're expecting for March was extended to be in the market around April and May. And some of them are coming with good corporate action. That also supported the market. And at the same time, prices of stocks were low, and those foreign investors that stood down when they saw the hit of the COVID-19 in Nigeria market in March. After they sold down, but getting to the import and export window of the exchange market, they were unable to exit. Then those funds started coming back again because since that stocks are already at their bottom price, they came in back to the market. That now pushed the market up. There was liquidity, there was positive sentiment. But this performance I would say it was highly disconnected from one economic reality, because economic, we say that we are really gasping for air, but the market was going up in opposite direction just because of these three factors that were on ground: the positive sentiment for oil and the corporate actions of companies that had the December year end, and at the same time, foreign investors that sold down early coming back again because they were unable to exit in terms of returning their money back to their country. All of them impacted positively in the month of April and May. On that note, we say that we saw a missed performance for the first half of the year. But I will tell you, the last quarter was second quarter was positive. Performance was positive to reverse what kind of a loss we had in the first quarter. But I will tell you, for straight 9 quarters from 2018 to date, the market have been on a downtrend. But after almost 9 quarters of downtrend, it was the first one we're seeing a negative close for the end of second quarter 2020. It's a good sign for the market, but I have to tell you that the fear for resurgence of this COVID-19 is what is actually going to slow down economic recovery going into second half of the year.
Oh, okay. Let me quickly come in. You said that April and May, the market rebounded a bit.
Yeah.
Right? Yeah. So which of the sectors were responsible for the rebounding that we witnessed in April and May?
Yeah, actually, I will tell you, it was across the sector, but the major sector that led was one, the industrial sector and the banking sector in terms of performance, because the earnings of this company were coming and the market were pricing in the low price of equities that ran there. They are announcing their corporate action. That was attraction. It was the industrial sector followed by the banking sector. These are the sectors that really activate the Q2 performance. And also, don't forget that there is a sector that is just coming up recently, which is the healthcare sector. The healthcare sector in the second half of in the second quarter also did well because of government intervention and positive sentiment. Expecting that the intervention of government will definitely not impact their performance for second quarter, but going forward into the third quarter, we'll start seeing the impact of this government injection of funds into that critical sector, just to be able to make our healthcare sector more attractive, and so that all these politicians that have been going on international tour for health will also be looking back home. That alone is what also impacted that sector, I will tell you. But knowing that the global reset in the economy, that in the whole world, not just Nigeria, that people are now working from home, there's also a reflection of that in the telecom company. Because the telecom company don't have a sector in our market for us to say, this indices to measure the sector performance for NSE, I will tell you, those sectors really did well. The telecommunication sector was also a good sector to consider because they are also active during this period of this second quarter and during the period of the heat of the virus in Nigeria.
Let's look at the flip side. Of course, with that, that's a bit of on the cherry news there, that some sectors or the market was relatively, positive in April and May. But let's look at the other side. Which of the sectors do you think was badly hit, and why?
Yeah, actually, I'll tell you that the food and the beverage sector was the one that I'll tell you they got the hit, because when the economy is shaking, these are places that the buying power or purchasing power of the many Nigerians were low. Consumption really dropped during the pandemic. That's why there was panic buying initially. But as we go into the pandemic, people purchasing power were down. And not only that, we had to get the food because there's lockdown here and there. It affected the manufacturing sector of the economy. But now I think they are coming out gradually as we are going to the third quarter and the second half of the year.
Okay, but let's look at the Nigerian stock market or the capital market as a whole, holistically. If you compare them to other African exchanges, where do you place us? Where do you place the Nigerian stock market?
No, we'll see it in two ways. No, is it because are you talking of our market being attractive for performance for the period? I will tell you.
Yes, for the first half of the year, if you compare it to other African exchanges like the South African exchanges, Johannesburg, and then of course Egypt, and you talk about other African exchanges as well.
For the second quarter of the year, not first, let me tell you, for the second quarter of the year, our market was one of the leading markets in terms of performance, because during the pandemic, despite the other people were shaking in their own aspect of the economy, our market was really looking up. Because I told you there were factors driving our market during that second quarter. For second quarter performance, our market was stable. For the half year, I would tell you it was a mixed performance for both other emerging market or frontier market. Our Nigerian market is among the frontier market. If you look at the performance of all those stocks in frontier market, I will tell you it was a mixed performance for nearly all. But I will tell you for the second half that ended June from April to June, I'll tell you that our market is one of the leading market in terms of performance.
Okay, let's talk more on let's look at some of the microeconomic indicators, their impact on the market. Did you think it has a bit of effect of the performance of the markets as it were?
I will tell you actually there was a strong disconnection between the economic data or reality between the market in the second quarter of the year because the market was going in a positive direction while the economy was still dwindling and also looking down. In terms of economic data that was released, if you look at the same period of second quarter, the month of April, there was no what we call purchasing manager index for April because there was no activity for you to measure anything. But for the month of May, we saw that there was a total decline from what we saw in March to almost 42.1 point for the purchasing manager index for that period for May. In June, it also went further low to 41.1. It says that those figures are really not looking good and declining. Also consider the inflation figure also for this same quarter. They keep going up. Remember that for the almost about 9 to 10 months now, looking at from the month of August, where the inflation figure touched as low as 11.02 before the federal government shut the borders of the nation just to control in terms of some goods into the economy. That triggered inflation. I would tell you since then, our inflation has been on the rise, and that's a serious concern for many investors that will have a continual rise in inflation. And in that situation, it tells that things are not well with us. And also, if you see that from policies that are still coming up as we speak now, like the recent price hike in fuel, it tells you that the inflation also maintained that rally, and that would affect the recent decision of the monetary policy that they adjusted the interest rate from about the MPR. When I'm interested, the MPR, the monetary policy down to about 12.5. And for May inflation, we're already having a 12.10. That means naturally, as I tell you, that every investment we do in Nigeria, that your return is not above 12.4, naturally you are in a negative return because inflation is already eating up your return. And now, if it goes above the MPR, which is the monetary policy rate, I tell you that will be another thing. And it's already 12.5 we are seeing for the MPR, and inflation for the month of May is already 12.4. And we're expecting that for the month of June, we'll see around something for like 12.46. If that should happen, I mean that you are going closer to the MPR. That also will send a lot of confusion and also panic into the market, knowing that the same government are trying to inject about 2.3 trillion to the economy to put in the effect of COVID-19. It's also going around adjusting policies that will also support the economy they want to run savage. For example,
yes, exactly. That's the reason why I asked that question, because the government was trying to reveal its fiscal policy. First, they came up with the revised, budget, and of course, they talk about stimulus packages for some of the sectors, key sectors of the economy. That didn't reflect. That doesn't seem to have, reflect in the market. Did it?
No, actually, we don't expect the palliative measure to start reflecting the market immediately. It will take time. No, I tell you, most of the injection of funds were done in the month of May. We expect that as of the third quarter, we'll start seeing the impact. Fine. But my concern is that it's the same government that is putting about 2.3 trillion as a stimulus package for the economy. You are also adjusting your electricity tariff. Automatically you are putting pressure on inflation, because once you adjust your tariff, that means every cost of production will go up. You will be able to factor in the adjustment into the price of goods and services they are rendering. That means price of goods and services will remain in the up direction. At the same time, in the same period again, we see that the same government is also reviewing fuel price. You said this price of fuel has come to be decided by forces of demand and supply. Now we're seeing that the price should be in the of between 42 to 43.80. Automatically, we are fixing the price again, and there's no difference between 145 naira fuel per liter and 143.8 there. That means this is also going to add more pressure on inflation. That means you are putting your monetary policy aspect of your economy in serious tax, because if inflation continues to rise, I will tell you, it's going to affect not only the consumer, it's going to slow down a lot of things, because especially investment window will now become negative for returns. As we speak now, the return for most the bond for a year is about 11.20, which is also below inflation. And also, you can look at Treasury today. Treasury is about 2.38. It tells you that the inflation is also has rubbish that investment window. That means the government has to work, I call it, let there be coordination between the physical and the authority, and the physical and the monetary authority, so that there will be what synergy in their things. So that they can deliver the economy from this kind of situation. But if they are working apart, because these policies are going to impact negatively on monetary policy, because when inflation is rising, interest rate is going down. I'm telling you, there's no repercussion. Yes, well, we know that as we speak now, the economy is on the late contraction stage, because our productivity is dwindling, our inflation is on the rising, while our interest is still trying to find a direction. On that note, now the government need to sit down, the economic managers need to sit down and find some of their policy to channel, the direction where we are going.
Let's just take a pause here, Ambrose. When we come back, I want us to look at, of course, is the second trading day of the week. Let's try to look at what we should expect going forward, especially throughout this week. We'll be back in a moment. You're still watching Daybreak. Please stay with us. In case you're just joining us, you're watching Daybreak Africa, coming to you from Abuja studios. We've been looking at the Nigerian stock market outlook for the second half of the year. Of course, we've been reviewing and looking at the performance of the market in the first half of the year and what the government has done so far. Ambrose Omodian is CEO, Chief Research Officer, Investigator, joins us from Lagos via Skype. Thank you for your time on the program.
Thank you.
All right. Before we went on break, I was going to ask you, looking at what will happen this week. But first, let's talk about the second half of the year. We've seen what happened in the first half of the year in the market. So what's your outlook for the second half of the year in terms of the performance of the Nigerian stock market?
Yeah. I expect the second half of the year also to go the same way with the first half. We had a missed performance in the first half. That's likely to repeat itself in the second half of the year. And looking at the impact of the lockdown within the last first half of the year, and also the fear of COVID-19 swinging up again because of the rising number due to easing of lockdown, that the spread and the increasing number also is part of factor threatening the economy globally in second quarter and in the second half of the year. And at the same time, the impact of the lockdown is going to reflect on the corporate performance of many companies, even businesses and individuals. That alone is going to affect at the beginning of this the second half of the year, because the market is looking towards the second quarter earnings season that will kick off any moment from now in this July. But these numbers are likely not to be attractive, and for that, investors are started to pricing in this number. That is why you see that the prices of stocks for the last 1 week now have been on the downtrend, just because people are selling off some position in some sector to move to another sector, going to different asset class, currency, and the region to invest, because of what the fear of the negative impact of the lockdown on corporate earnings are going to affect their prices, going into this third quarter. That's what we're expecting. But for the rest of the second half, we expect a mixed performance. I expect that towards the end of the year, that is the last quarter of the year, we should expect a little improvement. If this fear of resurgence is of the coronavirus is suppressed by either the World Health Organization come out with one drug that also for people to take, that will reduce the fear. But as far as there's no drug as we speak now, the fear will kind of restrict some movement to a level which is going to affect the economy and the market in the second half of the year. But for immediate, the third quarter, which we are just in now, I see that the performance of the companies that are for Q2 is going to really affect the market. But that's also create an opportunity for investors to see some prices of stocks that will come at a good entry price for them. But for me, investors should just invest wisely, invest intelligently. That is why an investor, I want to tell investors that you need to educate yourself. You need to up your knowledge in investing, so that any opportunity that the market is presenting, you can take the opportunity to enhance your finance, create wealth for yourself. Because this second quarter will definitely pull price of stocks down. But that should not send panic to the market at all. But for me, it's an opportunity for investors to buy low and say high. Equity investment is buy low and say high. After this second quarter result and price of stock come down, and from third quarter we'll start seeing some improvement, or that improvement will be a bit noticeable toward the end of the year, to the last quarter of the year. For me, there's no fear. If God has seen us through for the first half of the year, I believe investors that also made money in the last quarter of first quarter, in the last quarter of the first half, which was the second quarter, is that they also have to apply some strategies of buying low and have good exit strategy going into the second half of the year. There's opportunity in the market, and some sectors are likely to post good numbers in this second half of the year. And that is why investors need to reposition their portfolio, go for defensive stock now. That defensive stock will go a long way to protect your capital than rush it to all those different funds that are opening, either in agriculture here and there, where you don't understand what they are doing. It's better you take position in those defensive stock, wait for a while, because I'm telling you, the new interest rate in the market and the happening in the economy has really changed the whole investing environment. The fund managers are confused, investors are confused. But for me, investors should know that this is their hard-earned money. Instead of looking for 20% in 6 months and go and put your money in a window that you don't understand, better play where you know. Put your money in defensive stock and wait for a while. I think if you didn't make up to 20% this year, that does not mean that you have not really invested. You can start patient. We know before now that Nigerians are used to 15% treasury bill return, and most fund managers don't sit down in the office. They send their money to treasury bill and make money for their client. But now the treasury bill market is not there again.
Okay, let me quickly come in.
2.38.
Okay. I of course, there's a lot to talk about in that aspect. So if I get you correctly, what you're saying is that the market is already adjusting to the reality on ground. But then again, on the other side of it, people like the markets really will be able to absorb this reality on ground. I'm talking about the COVID-19 impact on economies.
Yeah, the market will definitely be able to adjust, because I tell you, in a down market, there's always opportunity in an up market. One, the injection of funds from the CBN and the government to the economy, we expect to start having impact from end of this third quarter year, because most of the funds, were disbursed in May and early June, and you don't expect that money to just enter a company and start changing the activities. A company that have been struggling for from March till around May, that money came to them. For me, it does from end of July, this third quarter, from September. We cannot see part of this, but for me, the market now coming down is an opportunity for a design investor to take investment decision. We need to watch and see the numbers where they are coming, and the sector that that is likely to post positive number. You reposition your portfolio to that sector. That's why now I advise you that it's time for you to look for different asset class. You look for different sector to look at. You might not put your money in one sector, because one thing that affects a sector will affect all the stocks, all the company in that sector. That is why you need to look for which sector have potential to post positive results in this second quarter and third quarter going forward. That is where you should be as an investor. To know which currency you should look at, and at the same time, which of the region or climate should you put your money? Should you be investing in Nigeria? Should you be investing in US? Those are the things that you should be looking at now as an investor, because this is time to go defensive. But if you don't understand investing outside the nation, what you do that, look for those defensive stocks. They are in our market already. There are some stocks that in investors who have identified as defensive stock for almost 10 years. They've been saying that there's a price they get to, they don't go below that price. You go to such stock and put your money after the whole thing, you move out and start making money, than going to invest in another investment window that is at the end, you lose your capital, lose your return, and everything. It's better you go for where you understand, and also up your game in investment education to know the right investment window to be at a time.
Well, this is quite tough going forward. But then again, let's look at a bit of looking at the investors. I'm talking about not only domestic investors now, but also talking about foreign portfolio investors. So do you see them also start participating in the Nigerian market going forward?
Actually, before now, I'll tell you, they are the ones that move the market up in the second half, in the second quarter of the year. because I told you earlier that they wanted to exit after they sold down in that March that the market hit, 11 years low. But getting to the exchange window, why is the import and export window of the foreign market, foreign exchange market, they have some issues, and so them keeping their money, they decide to come back. I'm telling you, once the coast is is open and they can see opportunity to exit, they are going to exit. That's going to affect our market. But before now, that foreign investor has always decide or direct our movement, because they have more than almost 50 to 58 or 60% of the market, which is not ready for the market. When they are coming in, our market will be bubbling. When they are going out, our market will be shaking. It's not a good thing for the market. And this is where our regulators should also up their game. That let educate Nigerians, and let Nigerians that are thinking long, with all the pension fund we have in Nigeria, all of them, the market is still dependent on foreign investors. I think our regulators should do a bit of education. Let's attract people back. People that lost money in 2008, 2009 because of the bad market, they are still nursing their wound, and nobody has gone back to educate them that the market has become more transparent, the market has changed, and now educated that when they come back with another strategy, they can start move. But if nobody has gone to meet them, we are not educating them, we are not telling them what to do. But we investors, I think we have taken that upon ourselves, that we'll do seminar here and there, to give them another courage, tell them have a good plan, don't follow bad wagon, have a good entry strategy by having your investment go, and have a exit strategy at any time. Once everybody is preaching it, the commission is preaching it, NSC is preaching it, teaching them, they will come back. And you see, when we are the one investing, for example, I say, money left. If we are the one investing our money here, we won't be run up and down. But for investors, any small thing, they are ready to sell out. And but we are Nigerians. If they we are still here, we won't be selling up. We will be using our strategy to go in and out. Before investors, before any small thing they see, they want to run out. And when they are selling, the market will be bleeding. It's not ready for the market. I think, yes, anywhere in the world, foreign investor, but when the foreign investor has more than 20% of any market, that market is shaking, because it will not become messier, because when they come in, you'll be smiling that you're making money. When they are going, you'll be shaking because they are selling down. No. Okay. Now they are here. Let our regulators start educating Nigerians. Let's attract more participants in the market.
Okay, let's wrap it up with this one, Ambrose. I'd like to know your thought. Of course, it's the second trading day of the week going forward. So some investors would like to know which of the stock to buy, which of the sectors to consider, especially now that most sectors have been badly hit by, or some sectors rather, have been badly hit by the COVID-19 pandemic. So which of the sectors do you think we should look at specifically to maximize investment?
Yeah. Actually, I would say that the pullback we're seeing in the healthcare sector is an opportunity for investors to take advantage of, because, as I said earlier, government is just injecting funds into that sector, making that that sector become active again, and at the same time become a sector to be proud of, so that the governors and the president are all attending our health sector here, going to our clinic here. If that is done, with all that attention is given to that sector in the next 3 years or 4 years, I'm telling you, we're expecting a better performance. For me, investors to take advantage of the pullback we're just seeing that sector now, to buy in that sector. And also the telecom sector is not a bad one, because I tell you that the lockdown has changed a lot of things. As we speak now, both globally, the economic reset is going on. People are not working as before, that you have to be on the road, traveling from one state to the other to work. Now, see, a lot of activities are going on e-commerce, online, schools are online. For that sector is a sector you should look at. Whether there is a pandemic or not, that sector is expected to post a positive number. Investors should be looking that way. And at the same time, too, you know that everywhere in the world, no matter how bad it is, the financial sector remains the engine room of economic development and growth. Yes, there will be slowdown in the financial sector as we speak now, but for me, the slowdown is also going to create an opportunity for investors to take advantage, but not immediately. I think after seeing their first their half-year result, you know where you should also be pitching your tent as an investor. I see opportunity in that sector at a low price, and as many of them are going to pay interim dividend. Investors should look at. But if you really want a holistic and a comprehensive analysis on where to put your money going forward, you need to get some product from Invest Data. Those products also guide you, or have what we call strategies for how to invest profitably in a changing dynamic, in a changing market dynamics and recession. you can get in that kind of material and also mastering any season. This is another any season. How investor can take advantage of this any season, to profit and also make a gain. This is what once you're able to up your knowledge or inform your investing education on what you are doing, because any business you are doing, you don't have understanding, you don't have knowledge, you don't have no interest, you make money. If you really have interest in your investment, you have earn money, you need to educate yourself, and at the same time, do it with all commitment. Before you know it, interact with professionals in the market. You are free to call your stockbroker, they educate you, call your banker, they educate you on how to go about it. Once you're able to invest wisely, I'm telling you, this pandemic, there's opportunity there for investors. Yes, there's a global slowdown in economic activity, but there's still opportunity to make money within this period. As prices are coming down now, it's creating opportunity to buy low. Then when it goes up, we also said, you have to take advantage of what is there. Now that I said earlier, there are other investment windows. Yes, they are already on negative return, but you can only hedge your against inflation by investing in equity, because if the company is doing well, and prices are going up, at the same time you are hedging against inflation. For me, the investors should just up their game, educate themselves, get material, study, then, because that is where you are putting your hard-earned money. You need to understand what you are doing. It's not the time to follow bad wagon. That's why people lost money in 2008, 2009, because they're all following a bad wagon different to invest. But now, it's your hard money, educate yourself, consult people that are professionals in this sector. Before you know it, you are making money, if not on quarterly, but on yearly basis, or even on weekly basis, depending on your investment goal. If you know how to set your goal, if you are an investor, you know how to set your goal.
Well, thank you for your time. Ambrose Omodion is Chief Research Officer, Investigator Consulting Limited. Thank you for your time on Daybreak Africa. Well, you've been watching Daybreak Africa. We'll be back in a moment. Please stay with us.